Besides, having your basic knowledge down, which everyone who does pass their tests and boards do, being a good doctor is so much more than that.
Hey guys, before I start, I just want to say thank you so much to those who support my channel. I am so excited to make more videos. If you're new to this channel, my name is Janet. Welcome to Janet Asks. If you're a high schooler like me who also struggles in figuring out what you want to do with your career life, don't worry because this channel is for you. I'll be interviewing people, all different occupations, and hopefully that can help you figure out which career is best suitable for you by understanding the careers a little bit better. So if you're interested, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have my special guest today here on Janet Asks because she is one of our frontline workers who is working extremely hard during this pandemic. She is the one that's helping all of us kids and teenagers and families stay healthy, and her work is extremely tough and exhausting, but that doesn't stop her from giving kids the best treatment she can give. And if you're interested in helping other kids stay healthy and saving their lives, stay tuned to learn more about her job. My special guest is a pediatrician who works in Palo Alto Medical Foundation. So let's give her a humble appreciation for her amazing work by welcoming Menglu. Hi Menglu, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for coming here on Janet Asks. And before I start, I just want to say thank you so much for working so hard during this pandemic. I truly appreciate what you and other doctors and frontline workers are doing right now, helping everyone stay healthy. And I am very excited to learn more about your career as a pediatrician.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Okay, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, so almost every kid in the country goes to their pediatrician for annual checkups, but can you kind of explain what exactly the job of a pediatrician is? Like, what are their roles?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, my job as an outpatient general pediatrician is to see kids 0 to 18 for their well checks. So either that's annually or more often when they're babies to make sure that they're growing well, that they get all their vaccines. We check in on like their growth, their weight, their height, vital signs like blood pressures and things like that, eyes, ears, hearing, vision, and other developmental milestones, and also mental health and things like that. And that's what we check in yearly. But besides that, we also see you guys for sick visits. So if you're sick or you have a question about something that's going on with your body, then we see you guys as well. As a pediatrician, we also see newborn babies in the hospital right after delivery to do an exam, make sure that everything looks normal, answer any questions. But a lot of it is like education for the parents, kind of having someone who can hold their hand, especially with first time parents, to answer basic questions on what's normal, what's not normal, and when to worry and when they need to bring their child in.
Yeah. Yes, your job is very amazing to all us kids and teenagers, and you do a lot, and thank you so much. And I know, like any other doctors, the process before becoming a pediatrician takes a lot of schooling and a lot of effort. So, can you just go over what are the different like schooling, like from starting from college, like how do you become a pediatrician?
Yeah, so good question. Um, that's definitely something that everyone should be aware of before choosing a career. And I think with every job, there's difficult aspects of it. And going into medicine is a long journey. So definitely making sure that you're passionate about that. Besides going to college, You also go to 4 years of med school. 2 of those years in med school, in a traditional med school, is kind of classroom learning, and 2 of those is rotating through all the different specialties. Then by the end of med school, you figure out what you're more interested in and kind of your specialty. Then for me, it was pediatrics and working with children. So then I go on to a residency program, which is at least 3 years. So pediatrics and internal medicine are both 3-year programs. They're the shortest. Um, some years, like surgery, can be up to 6, 7 years. And then after residency, you can either go into like general pediatrics and general medicine, or you can specialize even further and apply for fellowship. So in my case, that would be something more specialized in pediatrics, such as like pediatric cardiology or pediatric neurology or GI. So that's even more training. So for me, with like college, 4 years of college, 4 years of med school, 3 years of residency, that's 11 years at least, to start practicing. And then after med school, you do become a doctor, though. You get your MD or DO, but you need additional training to practice without supervision and then passing your boards. But I think my suggestion for med school, for even like getting into med school, is not always majoring in science. Traditionally, a lot of people did, and I also majored in bio. But to stand out, some med schools also like people who major in something different, like history or literature or anything else, but also getting the core science classes done.
Wow, being a doctor takes a long time, longer than I expected. And what you said about not majoring in science is very interesting as well. And yeah, so your work is pretty challenging for both before and during your career. So why did you want to become a pediatrician?
Yeah, good question. So in terms of just going into medicine, I've always enjoyed science more than other subjects. So that was something that was pretty easy to figure out. But with science, you can definitely go into a lot of different fields, like getting your PhD or like veterinary medicine or medicine. But especially pediatrics, what drives me the most to what was the major reason I went into that was I enjoy the people who also go into pediatrics. I feel like they have very similar personalities to me. They are definitely very passionate and empathetic. They're very caring for their patients. They're very nice. They're very bubbly people. So I definitely wanted a career where my coworkers also have similar values as I do. And pediatrics is a little difficult because children can't always tell you how they feel. And a lot of times it can be difficult working with parents, but I view that as a more positive thing. I think parents kind of are part of my team, and parents are the ones who it's like a special, like an additional person who can be at home to observe their child. And I enjoy a lot of education for the parents and the children, like the teenagers. It's very rewarding to see that education, and seeing like the mom who has a second baby and feeling like she has it more under control than like the first one. So all of that is really rewarding, just being able to kind of mold and change their life as they become adults.
Yes, I like how you're very passionate about your job, and I like how you like to help other people. And I know many doctors have a very packed daily schedule from some have to wake up very early and work till very late, and some also have night shifts. So, what
Mhm.
does your typical work day of a pediatrician look like?
So I can't speak for everyone, but as a general outpatient pediatrician, I definitely also chose being in general medicine because of the lifestyle as well. So it depends on who you work for and if you have like a private practice or you're part of a larger group. But my job currently, which is pretty nice, I usually work 4 days a week. And I usually have the weekends off, except we rotate through our call schedule by being on call. So I'm typically on call every few weeks where we are on call for a day and overnight by the phone. So there's always a pediatrician on call 24/7. If anyone calls into the advice line and the nurses don't know what to do, we get that forwarded to us and then we talk to the parents on like if they can wait or if they should go to the emergency room. So it's usually not too bad because the other staff do a very good job with directing the patients. Um, and then because some pediatricians, like I said, do go to the nursery sometimes to see the newborn babies, every few weeks as well, I go in the morning to the nursery to see the newborns. And that's also a chance to also recruit some new patients to your panel. Some people continue following up with you, which is really nice because you see the babies right when they're born and you get to watch them grow. Um, it really depends on where you work though.
Mm,
So like sometimes some companies like Kaiser, like full time is working 5 days a week. Some pediatricians don't go into the nursery at all.
mm,
So it definitely does vary. But usually from for me, like 4 days a week is kind of like an 8 to 5 kind of thing. You see patients every 15, 30 minutes. You get a lunch break, do it again in the afternoon. And then if you don't finish up your notes or charts, then you can do that at home.
nice. That's nice to hear that you're not that as stressed as some doctors have to
Mhm.
be, and I mean, it still sounds a little bit tiring, but I also know that your job can also be very endearing working with other kids and that your job has a lot of perks to it. So, what's your favorite part about your job as a pediatrician?
I think my favorite part is just seeing the kids. They're super cute most of the time. um, and and like I said, the part with the education. And to me, even if a kid comes in and there's nothing wrong, there's always something to talk about
Mhm,
with the parents, with the patient, and the child. There's always even reassurance is important to parents and families to
mhm,
kind of reassure them and teach them why you think that this is okay, why you don't think this is what they're worried about, kind of making sure you address their questions and the things that they worry about most. Because if even if you go on talking about all sorts of things, but don't answer specifically what they're worried about, and sometimes they won't tell you, like in the back of their mind, they're worried about cancer. But you have to sometimes specifically ask what they're worried about before they open up and tell you. And that really helps with the families and the stress level. And my other favorite part is as I build a panel, seeing the families back and catching up with their life and learning from them is also really rewarding.
mhm. Yeah, that does sound very rewarding, and I'm someone who likes kids too, so I could definitely see how it's fun working with kids. And I know that doctors have to deal with a lot of unpredictable and sometimes stressful situations. So, what
Mhm.
was one time that was that was extremely stressful for you?
The hard part about pediatrics is also they're very young. When kids get sick, you feel like life is a little unfair because they're so young, they still have the rest of their life, and the things that some kids go through should never be gone through. A child should never go through that.
Yeah.
I did say how nice the outpatient life is right now with, my panel and seeing my own patients and education, and it's really rewarding. But the path to get to where I am was pretty difficult, as like any other job, though. But with residency and med school, you do see a lot in residency because a lot of the time is spent in the hospital. There are sicker kids who go in, and definitely kids who have cancers, tumors,
Mhm.
chronic things that are found for the first time. Very difficult news to break to the family, and your heart kind of breaks with them. And a lot of parents feel very helpless. There are some times where really like medicine can only do so much, and parents are like, why can't it just happen to me instead of my child? And it's heartbreaking. So definitely affects you emotionally, and it's mentally a little draining as well. But I think that's the worst part, is when you feel helpless and you know that medicine can only do so much and the prognosis is not good, and that really weighs you down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, a good pediatrician requires a lot of important traits or qualities since it is such a tough and demanding job. So, what are
Mhm.
some important traits or qualities that a good pediatrician must have?
Yeah. Besides, having your basic knowledge down, which everyone who does pass their tests and boards do, being a good doctor is so much more than that.
Yeah.
So I think having good bedside manner is really important, because that helps you develop this like trusting relationship with your doctor, and your patients. And also being very careful about everything you do, like making sure and double checking that the medications that you're putting in is the right amount. Um, Being very careful with like documentation and your exam, being very observant is also important. But good bedside manners and developing that trusting relationship and that special relationship with the patient and the doctor, um, makes it easier to take care of them as they progress and grow older. And if issues come up, the parents do feel safer talking to that pediatrician. Whereas, with a random doctor, if they've seen a random doctor, they don't have that relationship. And it's definitely a little harder to get that reassurance. um, and definitely multitasking was a big quality in like residency, because you're taking care of so many patients at the same time. And definitely like patience with parents, with coworkers. Sometimes stress times are really stressful. Parents are really stressed. They want things immediately because they're advocating for their child, which is a great thing to do. But that does take also a lot of patience and understanding from the pediatrician's part.
Mhm. Yeah. Definitely having good relationships with patients and being careful and being able to multitask are all very important. I could definitely
Mhm.
see that. Um, what did you learn from being a pediatrician for over a year now?
Well, it's only been a year, but I think so far, especially with the current circumstances and COVID, I feel like I definitely went into the right field with the amazing coworkers that I have around and the support we have for each other. And especially now, the general public also is realizing how important the healthcare workers are, and how much we are kind of giving and sacrificing. our own safety for them. What I learned throughout this year is that there is just so much more to learn.
Mhm.
And as someone who's fresh out of residency, I realized that medicine a lot of the time is a team effort. So, as a pediatrician, I have my own patients, but sometimes I do need extra help and I don't know everything. And that's what my coworkers are for, to get like a second opinion. And it's okay to ask for a second opinion. It's okay to tell the patients, you know what, I'm not sure because I don't see this as often. And I want to make sure that we get the right diagnosis and the right treatment. So it's okay to ask your coworkers for extra help, as in any field. And it's very nice that we have our amazing specialists that we can contact and the hospital that we can contact for even more further opinions.
Yeah, those are very good lessons to learn. And there are several different types of doctors in the medical industry. So, what makes a pediatrician different from other types of doctors?
Yeah, I think I touched a little bit on this earlier, but I think the major difference is you are not just taking care of the patient, you are taking care of the family,
Mm,
because there's usually parents involved.
mhm,
With pediatrics, the other major difference is that a lot of the times, especially young kids, can't exactly tell you their history. And history is very important in terms of diagnosis. So
mhm,
a lot of the exam and even questions towards the parents are based on observation. So we can walk into the room and just visually, without even asking anything, tell a lot about the patient in terms of what kind of alertness level they are, um, if they are, if their color is a little off, how much energy they have, and then questions towards the parents like how well they're eating or drinking, peeing, pooping, how well their energy is at home. Those kind of things give us a very good general idea of how the patient is doing. And that's even more important in pediatrics because they can't exactly tell you where it hurts or what's making them uncomfortable. And then the parent aspect with just having more people being part of the care.
mhm. Yeah, what you said about your helping the entire family is very powerful. And so yeah, we're actually on our final question. So if you
Okay.
could give any other final advice or words of encouragement for high schoolers or college students who are interested in becoming a pediatrician, what would you give to them regarding their career?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely a super rewarding career. And I love where I'm at right now and what I do every day and how many people I get to help. So it's a very rewarding career.
Mhm.
It does take a long time to get to where you want, and that's very normal. A lot of times you got to do the things you're not interested in, the things you don't want to do to get to do eventually what you want to do. And to me, I think it's worth it if that's what you're passionate about. I do wish that I had a mentor going through all this, especially in high school, in college, um, so that because as much as I tried and as much as I like volunteered and shadowed a little bit, to get an idea of what medicine is like, it definitely kind of was very different than what I expected. Physically, it was exhausting in terms of the hours. Mentally, it was exhausting with the amount of information.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it was also exhausting with just what you see people go through. Um, the people you are seeing in the hospital or even in clinic sometimes are having the worst day of their life, and the people around them as well. So it does take a lot from you emotionally. So definitely make sure that this is something that you can do, making sure that you have a lot of support and you take care of your own mental health first, because it's very hard to help other people when you even have trouble helping yourself. So taking care of yourself, and don't do this for other people, like for your parents or for the status, or for the money, because that won't get you through it and you'll have a very hard time. So definitely make sure this is exactly what you want to do. And I would advise more, when COVID is over and safer, more chances to just reach out to even the doctors that you have and seeing like what kind of shadowing experience there are. Ask a lot of questions and just expect that you're never going to be fully prepared and know exactly what you're getting yourself into, and that's okay. And just being flexible with that.
Yeah, thank you. Those advice are really good. And I think what you said throughout this whole video, I hope is a way to help people understand how like help them be prepared for the tough and grueling career. But as you said, if you really like it, then it would be rewarding. And yeah, you have been amazing, and you gave so many incredible advice and information about being a pediatrician. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for all for your work during this time and your help for for all the kids. And I really appreciate your work.
Thank you. Well, it was also very nice to share my experiences and give back and kind of remind myself the whole process that I went through to get here.
Thank you so much. Have a
You're welcome.
nice day. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot from Menglu about being a pediatrician. I learned a lot, and I learned that you must be completely passionate about your career to make it, because if you're not, then your whole career journey will be a lot harder. So if you want to be a pediatrician, make sure that you are fully committed and that you like what you do, and it's not from other it's not forced onto it. It's not forced onto you that you have to be a pediatrician. And I think Menglu gave amazing advice. So yeah, if you enjoy this type of video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to follow more updates, please follow my Instagram. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day, and thank you so much. Bye.